Hello, welcome to episode 2 of How Do I UV That, where I go through subscribers' models and I show you how to UV them. So in this episode, I got this model. It's a water tanker model, and let's go ahead and check the UVs. So first things first, I'm just gonna reset the UVs, or actually no, let me separate the model. Let me close this. First, I want to see how the model was made. Okay, so everything's in different pieces. So just to make it easier for this video, I'm just gonna separate the pieces for now. Okay, so that we can UV map them separately. So now let's open the UV editor. Let's click here too. Okay, so going to click here for shaded mode. So I'm just gonna reset this first by making a planar map, and we're going to isolate it. So let's look at the model. Obviously for this model, the obvious choice would be to do a cylindrical mapping on the cylindrical parts of the model, of course. So let's see. Oh, I noticed there's a few N-guns here. There's one here, there's quite a few N-guns. I think there's one at the bottom as well. I'm just gonna fix those real quick just by automatically fixing the N-guns in Maya. Let's see. Nope. Just gonna automatically fix them. Did that do it? I don't think that did anything. Nope. Oh. See faces more than 4 sides. Okay, it's not the most ideal way of doing it, but I mean I recommend you fix them manually. But anyways, let's see here. Okay, so yeah, what I would do is do a cylindrical map. To grow my selection here. I don't want to include the faces at the bottom. Oh, I think this thing has a material on it. It's making it pretty difficult to see. Oh no, never mind. It's the shaded mode. Okay, so now you can see this more clearly. I'm going to select this and just grow my selection here. Okay, I'm going to deselect this, and I need to deselect the bottom as well. It's gonna be a little hard to deselect it because I think there's a bevel back down here. And I think you said you made this in Blender. It's pretty cool. I hope Blender has the same UV tools as we do in Maya, which I assume it probably does, so it should be alright. Okay, so now that I have selected the cylinder, we can apply a cylindrical mapping in Maya, which is just by clicking on this thing, and that gives us a cylindrical map. So the nice thing about a cylindrical map, like what we have here, is that we get straight lines. And I'm also going to click on my checker box just to see what this is looking like. Looks like I probably have to scale this. Let's see. Okay, I think that looks good. So we have stretching on the top here. We also have probably stretching in the inside. Let's see. Oh, it's not stretching, it's overlapping UVs for the inside faces here. So first things first, we can fix these pieces which are stretched out here. The way to do that, let's see, the scale is need more space here. Way to do that is select the UVs here. I'm going to grow my selection all the way to, let's see, okay. You know what, I think that's it. I think one more. Okay, I think we're getting it now. Although I think for the bottom one, I don't think that one's stretched. Well, I need to increase the size just to see it better. Oh, it is stretched. Okay. And it's this line right here. Okay, so up to here. Let's see if we can make that selection. Okay, I think that's it. So if you see here, well, let's get rid of that. If you see, when I move these down, we are revealing those that part of the model there. So that as we move that down, we should be fixing here the stretching. Though I'm seeing, let's see, I'm seeing something strange here. What is this at? Oh, okay. Let's go to UV here. I see now. So these, we're gonna have to move this down. To make it easier to fix that, we can probably just cut the UVs here. Let's see. So whenever you have a 90-degree change in your geo, it's preferable to cut your UVs there. So here there's a 90-degree somewhat. So I'm gonna cut them here. Now let's cut UVs. We also want to cut it down here. It's gonna be a little hard here. Gonna have to go all the way around. It's really interesting that the UVs, I got those UVs for that piece. Not sure if there's something weird with the model or not. Hopefully not. Okay, so let's cut the UVs there. So now we should be able to move this down separately. Okay. Let's see here. Where is this at? It's really strange. I think there might be, let's see, where are these faces? Oops. I'm not seeing those faces here. Which is really interesting. I think there might be some extra geo in there somehow. So if I delete that, still not seeing the difference. Not sure if there's extra geo or what's going on here. Yeah. So sometimes, if you have some weirdness going on with your geo, that may also impact UVs here. So I'm not seeing those faces in the model at all. Not sure what those are. Assuming they're overlapping somewhere. So I'm just gonna delete them to keep my UVs clean. And I also didn't need those faces. Okay, there we go. To fix these guys, to make them straight, what I'm going to do is just select the bottom here. And shift click so I can select it all the way. Go to UV mode. Go to select the bottom ones. And I'm going to use, where's the, let's see where my tool's at. There's the align tools, align and snap. I believe we want this one. Yes. Okay, so that makes a straight line here. And we got nicer UVs. I think that's fine. We are gonna get just slightly a little bit of distortion because of the cylindrical shape of the model. But I think that's fine in our case. And that's a separate piece, which is fine. Let's move this guy. This piece could use more of this so that it's not stretched. Also, whenever you have separate UV shells, you also want to make sure that you have a little bit of spacing in your UVs. Let's see what is up with this. Oh, I think I forgot to delete that one. Yep, just need to delete it. So before you do UVs, just I would do is make sure the geo of your model is all good and set up, so that it makes it easier when you UV stuff. But I mean, it's not a big deal here. And now we have, let's see, this piece. So you can see when I select those faces, it just shows me a line in the UV editor, which means they are overlapping. Easiest way to do that, just double click that, go to UV, going to deselect the bottom ones, then just move these guys. And now that's fixing our distortion problem here. There we go. And because there's a 90-degree angle here, I'm going to cut my UVs there. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing. And basically what you'll have to do is do that on the on this part as well. Set it up this way so that you have those separated. Let me finish this one up. And maybe the strange geometry that happened was because I fixed the n-gons automatically instead of fixing them by hand. So first things first is I recommend you fix the n-gons before even doing UVs. Okay, I'm gonna cut UVs now. Oops. Move the UV shell down. There we go. So basically that's what we want. We want the rest of the water tank to look like this. And separate those pieces. Now, for this area, right now the UVs are not perfect. So there's a few things we can try, because right now these are overlapping. Let's see. Here we go. One thing we can do is select the faces inside there, and in the UV editor just scale those like this. So that our UVs are not overlapping. So an issue that could come up from that is that because this is this is like a 90-degree angle here, we could potentially see artifacts once we bake a normal map, for example. So you could also just cut the UVs and have it as a separate piece. Now the main issue of this is you're gonna end up with a lot of pieces for your UVs because you're gonna have one of those for each. And you can potentially still get the artifacts from these pieces, from this face to this face. So you might get artifacts on this edge right here because there's like a 90-degree angle going from here to here. So when you bake normal maps, that could also create issues. So in that case, what you could do is cut the UVs here. So cut those UVs. Now have that as a separate piece. And you would probably have to cut down here as well. And I'm going to unfold this. Fold. Oh, because our model has some weird geo, the unfold tool doesn't want to work, unfortunately. But making sure our UVs are fine, our model is all good, the unfold tool should work, and it should give us pretty much a straight line for these UVs. And that's gonna mean you're not gonna have any issues with baking normal maps on this. Of course, again, the main issue is gonna be you're gonna end up with a lot of pieces, a lot of UV shells here, which is not always optimal, but I guess sometimes you kind of have to have them. So you're gonna have to have that. Let me show you what I meant by what this should look like at the end. It should be something along the lines of this. Let me align these. Let's see. Oops. So you should end up with something like that. And that's for each, which again, it's a lot of UV shells. So what I would recommend, honestly, is for this model to be your high poly, or at least part of your high poly, and have those pieces baked in as a normal map. So that way, that detail is baked in as a texture instead of being part of the model. And that's going to give you the opportunity to, when you do your UVs, you're going to end up with basically this. That's going to be all you're going to need. And you're not going to need to make all these extra UV shells. I mean, honestly, I think you could totally bake these details as a normal map, to be honest. So I think we're running, let's see how much time we had. Yeah, we're past the 15 minutes that I promised. So yeah, basically, let's see, for the top, it's mostly a planar map for the top pieces. These could be a cylindrical or planar map. I think these are pretty easy. You already know you can just do planar maps to get the UVs on these, and obviously have these pieces sharing the same UV space. Pieces that are identical should share the same UV space. Same with the ladder. Some of these should share the same UV space, maybe some don't. But yeah, hopefully this helps. So for anyone else, if you want to send your 3D model, check the description in the video. The video description with details on how to just send me your 3D model. If you want to see me UV map it, I'm going to spend about 15 minutes just going through the process. And yeah, if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.